announcing the commencement of the annual Purge.
This July, have your voice be heard.
I purged.
I purged.
Show your support.
I purged because it's my civic duty.
For the Purge.
I purge because staying in is un-American.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual Purge.
The soul of our country is at stake.
The senator's going to win. She's going to make real changes.
The purge has to come to an end.
At the siren, all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 hours.
Senator, let's begin lockdown.
All emergency services will be suspended. Your government thanks you for your participation.
We're going to use this year's Purge to do something about that senator.
We're being hunted.
Go, go, go!
We are on our own.
My God. How did it get to this?
What you doing outside on Purge Night, Senator? Come with us.
There are threats everywhere. There's death everywhere.
Y'all need to see this.
We have one goal: survival.
Purge and purify. Purge and purify. Purge and purify.
Anything coming? Run.
I purged to keep my country great.
In my humble opinion, I believe that something huge is about to go down in the United States of America this year, which will definitely impact the entire world. And you know, whether you call yourself a Christian or not, I think many of us can sense that something is about to happen. We cannot quite put our finger upon it, but even this disturbing trailer that you watched for a movie that is coming out this July 4th weekend, it was brought to my attention by one of my subscribers, Kathy Brown. I thank her for that. I had no idea that such a film was coming out. And you know, I got to tell you that now the elites to me are being so in our faces. It's not even cryptic anymore. You know, the messages that they're putting in a lot of these movies lately are really showing a lot of destruction, showing the total societal breakdown of America and just the world in general. We're seeing a lot of killing. We're seeing a lot of violence, a lot of bloodshed. You know, these messages are so in our face now. It's not even really cryptic anymore. It's getting so obvious. And, you know, I really wanted to get into, you know, some of the things about this movie, you know, just from the outside looking in, it can just seem like, you know, one of those normal killer kind of movies, lots of, you know, violence and bloodshed, and, you know, one of the run-of-the-mill killer kind of movies. But really, when we look into it more, you know, there are definitely quite the crazy messages that are being put in these films, you know, and again, they're being very blatant, they're being very in our face, but there are still some cryptic things I'd like to show you. You know, Kathy made a point of saying that, you know, even the 9/23 that I've been discussing in quite a few of my videos, that it definitely could still be pointing to a date, and I don't doubt that. You know, we spoke about how it points to plutonium, the 239 being the atomic number for plutonium, but 9/23 happens to be a date that is very significant on the occultic calendar. And let's just get into that right now. When we look at the Illuminati holidays, I've got a website here from Illuminati Watcher, a great article talking about how there are 8 major nights of human sacrifice in the occult holiday system, okay? And they go on to list the actual dates. Now, these are all date ranges, actually, but December 21st, we know is the winter solstice, February 1st, March 21st, you know, the spring equinox, May 1st, which is May Day, of course, we know, June 21st, August 1st, September 21st, okay, which we're going to focus on today, and October 29th to 31st, okay? So if you go, there's you know, you can find many diagrams of this calendar. We've got the 8 major high days, okay, of the occult, you know, of Wicca, of the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, the mystery religions. These are their 8 main days, okay? and something big happens. And like the other website just said, they actually require human sacrifice. If we go to another website, as this is actually a blog called Heaven Awaits, and they've got the occult sacrifice calendar, you can see that all these dates, pertain to human sacrifice and what happens, on those particular dates, or at least what their requirements are. All right, if we go to another great website called Occult Holidays and Sabbats, okay, they speak of these things, okay, as to what happens, on these days. Okay, again, giving more description. Illuminati human sacrifice nights, again, on the winter solstice. Okay, you've got March 21 to 22nd. Okay, again, it requires human sacrifice nights. We know what happened on 3/22 this particular year. The Brussels bombings, okay, happened right on 3/22. Okay, so that, which was March 22nd. So definitely things are going on those days. Okay, the summer solstice, again, human sacrifice. The autumn equinox, human sacrifice. Okay, it's interesting how they note below that people like you and I, the everyday people, are considered profane, and we're led like a flock of sheep to observe these important festivals of the mystery religion. We don't even realize that our calendar is totally based on pagan holidays. We don't even realize that, and we need to get with it, really, to realize what is truly going on here. I believe that, when the pagan calendar came out and it took us off of the Hebrew calendar, we as Christians, we really should be following the Hebrew calendar, I believe, not this pagan nonsense, okay, that has been, basically, shoved down our throats since, for many years now, okay. So these are occultic, festival, satanic times, okay. So basically on these human sacrifice nights, this article goes on to say that their goal, okay, is to have these following elements as part of their sacrifice nights, okay, and they're to be exaggerated to the highest possible degree, and that is trauma, stress, mental anguish, and sheer terror. The final act in the drama should be destruction by a fire. Fire could be nuke, fire could be, any kind of fire, I guess, but I guess they want it the bigger the better, preferably by conflagration. People must die as human sacrifices, especially children, since Lord Satan looks upon a younger human sacrifice as his most desirable. Okay, so you can see what is supposed to entail these human sacrifice nights. Again, there are 8 of them. Okay, these 8 high days, of these of the Wiccan calendar, of the occultic pagan calendar. These are the high days, and they require human sacrifice. Okay, and they're to be extremely exaggerated. If we go down in this, it goes on to list all the requirements of all these pagan days, including Christmas and Easter, just as we've discussed before. Christmas and Easter are definitely pagan days, okay? But if we get to the autumn equinox, September 21st to 23rd, and again, the high day of this particular day, Mabon, okay, is September 23rd, 9/23. Okay, so there's your 9/23 connection already there. Okay, so in this time, from this date through Halloween, occultists believe the veil is separating the earthly dimension from the demonic realm. It gets progressively thinner, with the thinnest night being October 31st. This thinning of the separating veil makes it easier for the demonic realm to enter the earthly dimension. Thus, on Halloween, evil spirits, ghosts, witches, hobgoblins, black cats, fairies, and demons of all sorts were believed to be running amok across the land. They had to be back on their spiritual dimension before midnight Halloween, okay? So this is what they believe is happening, okay? So around the autumn equinox, the veil is thinning, between the earthly dimension and the demonic, dimension, and, things are entering into our earthly realm. If you go to the Wicca website itself, they actually talk about this day, Mabon, okay? Again, this is what we're focusing on today, Mabon, the September, autumn equinox, 9/23, crazy date for these people. Okay, according to the Wiccan website, the autumn equinox divides the day and the night equally. Okay, so on that day, there's an equal amount of daylight and there's an equal amount of night. Okay, so sun and moon, okay, daytime and nighttime are equal on that day. So again, symbolizing their dark versus light, as above, so below. They love to show their duality. They love these kind of things. Okay, these are all occultic things that they love to celebrate, even though, having a day that has equal daylight and equal nighttime, there's nothing wrong with that. But, the devil loves to pervert these things and use them for his purposes. And we take a moment, okay, as the Wiccans say, to pay our respects to the impending dark. We also give thanks to the waning sunlight as we store our harvest of this year's crops. The Druids called this celebration Mean Fomir, and honor the green man. Interesting, the green man, nature, Cernunnos, Baphomet, the two-horned god. the god of the forest, by offering libations to trees. See, they worship trees. That's where we saw a lot of tree imagery in previous videos. Offerings of ciders, wine. Okay, they talk about their sacrifices. We can celebrate the aging goddess as she passes from mother to crone. Okay, so the green man, I believe, is code for Cernunnos, Baphomet, the two-horned god. The goddess, the aging goddess, I believe, is code for Semiramis, okay, Nimrod's wife, okay, the pagan Ishtar, Isis, whatever you want to call her, you know, from mother to crone as her consort, the god, as he prepares for death and rebirth. Okay, so they're constantly celebrating this death and rebirth of Nimrod, Osiris, Semiramis, Ishtar, Tammuz, whatever you want to call it. That's what they're constantly celebrating. At this festival, it is appropriate to wear all of your finery and dine and celebrate in a lavish setting. It is the drawing to of family. You know what? I would never want to bring my family into something like this, let me tell you. As you prepare for the winding down of the year at Samhain, it is a time to finish old business as we ready for a period of rest, relaxation, and reflection. So, you know, again, it can sound all nice. It can sound so lovely. It can sound like, oh, you know, these witches or this Wicca or the Illuminati, oh, they're not so bad. They're not doing such bad things, you know. And they talk about more things that have to do with this festival. But, you know, as we look at, again, at the bottom it says, Mabon is considered a time of the mysteries. Mystery religion, mystery Babylon. It is time to honor aging deities in the spirit world. Considered a time of balance, it is when we stop and relax. Let's move my little self out of the way here. When we stop and relax and enjoy the fruits of our personal harvests, whether they be from toiling in our gardens, working at our jobs, raising our families, or just coping with the hustle and bustle of everyday life. May your Mabon be memorable and your hearts and spirits be filled to overflowing. So again, it could sound so lovey-dovey, so, you know, warm, fuzzy kind of feeling, kind of nonsense, but really, that is not what it is about at all. They are not about a warm, fuzzy kind of feeling. They are very evil. Okay, this is not what is happening. If human sacrifice is happening on these days, then we definitely know it is not all warm and fuzzy feeling. This is not a good thing for humanity. This is not something you should be celebrating with your family. Okay, because again, this 9/23, this Mabon happens to be a big time of killing. It is a high day. It requires human sacrifice. Okay, even as on this particular blog says the same thing, you know, from this time of September 21st, the autumn equinox, one of the Illuminati's high human sacrifice nights. Okay, so I believe this is what they're showing even in this movie, because as we get to some of the footage from this movie, I noticed in the trailer that they showed some security cam footage. Okay, now on the security cam, they're not actually saying 9/23, but they're still mentioning a date. Look at this one, 3/21/2017. So this is obviously a date in the future, but 3/21, okay, interesting. When we go back, okay, to the days of these people's, you know, crazy days, of these, you know, pagan days, 3/21, March 21 is one of the Illuminati's high human sacrifice nights. So here we've got on the security camera, right in this movie of The Purge, they're showing, you know, when you watch the trailer, if you see the movie yourself, they're showing someone coming and shooting this guy right on 3/21, so human sacrifice being performed right on one of their high days, okay, right on one of their high days, March 21st, okay. So there you go, that's happening, which the March one is called Ostara. Okay, so right on 3/21, we know what happened on 3/22 this year, okay? That major things are going on. Here's another one, 3/22, okay? Again, showing the Skull and Bones number 3/22, one of their high killing days, okay? Again, you can see this kind of thing, 3/21, again, the date of 3/21. So they are definitely showing us that, you know, things are happening on that particular day, okay? It is definitely a high day for them. Okay, constantly showing this. If you go to all kinds of pictures, again, you can see these dates being shown again, 3/21. Okay, so, I mean, it's actually getting very obvious now, okay, that this is definitely not something that is, you know, by coincidence. This is not chance that, you know, on the security cam footage in this movie that they happen to show, okay, this particular date. And again, it coincides right with their holidays, okay, of Mabon or of whatever, or the spring equinox. These are high sacrifice days for the Illuminati / the elite / whatever you want to call them, the mystery religions, the mystery schools, all these people following this nonsense. This is what they're showing in this movie, all out killing. Okay, the Purge is apparently a day where they're allowed to have a day of killing. There's no law. Laws are suspended. They're allowed to do all kinds of nonsense, go out and kill. You've even got American people that are saying, oh, I'm you know, I did it for my country. I'm part of the Purge. You know, they make it seem like a great thing, but then they're doing totally psychotic things on this particular night. So it's almost showing like America has gone nuts. America has gone crazy. Okay, so something big is definitely, I believe, about to happen. They even show a scene with guillotines. Okay, we know that, in the Bible, when it comes to the tribulation time, that Christians will basically be lined up to be slaughtered. Okay, I believe all the Christians that they catch, as much as they can, will be, either executed in many ways, whether it's through guillotine or whether it's through shooting, whatever. But they're even showing this in this movie. I believe this movie is depicting the time of tribulation. I believe there's going to be a big time of chaos. Possibly this chaos could even begin possibly before, the actual tribulation. I don't know if whether the Lord's going to allow, a total societal breakdown to occur like this as what is being seen in this movie. But definitely they're showing scenes really to me that depict exactly what Scripture says, that the tribulation is going to be like, people killing themselves, all kinds of crazy things happening. All right, if we go to another scene, okay, one of the killers in the scene or in this movie is, you'll constantly see this, this Statue of Liberty kind of figure. Okay, but it's got blood all over this person, all over the mask. You've got the double X, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I really wanted to talk about this Statue of Liberty. Many of us think that the Statue of Liberty is such a wonderful symbol of America, Statue of Freedom. It symbolizes freedom, it symbolizes independence, all that kind of thing. But, if you don't know about the Statue of Liberty, I got some news for you. If you go to a website, and many people have covered this, it's not just this one website, okay, they talk about some of the top Illuminati symbolism. And now we know that the Statue of Liberty, okay, carries something called the eternal flame. Okay, she carries this torch, okay, which we even see in the Olympic Games. We see on many company logos this flame imagery. Okay, so this light or fire actually represents something else. Okay, it's called the symbol of the Enlightenment. Okay, so the Illuminati researcher, Dr. Stan Monteith, claims that the Statue of Liberty is the pagan goddess Semiramis. We just mentioned that name. The whore of Babylon, a homewrecker and a harlot. She represents the destruction of the old world order and the creation of the new world order. So what's interesting is that, one of the biggest cities in the world, New York City, has this pagan god, Semiramis, which some have even likened to Apollo, because the face apparently is very close to the Apollo face statues. Okay, the face of this Liberty is literally could be the sun god, or the Helios, the sun god Apollo, with the rays of the sun on the head. Okay, holding the flame, but it's showing dressed in basically in a robe. It's almost like showing the whole transgender, a man dressed as a woman, all that kind of nonsense. So you got so much of imagery in this Statue of Liberty. But the fact that this is right there in the harbor, right in New York City, facing New York City, it was even facing the Twin Towers as they fell. Okay, and it symbolizes the destruction of the old world, which is the world we're living in right now, and the creation of the new world order. Now we've seen that statement made in so many movies. I remember even in Captain America 2, the main bad guy was quoted as saying that we need, in order to build a new world, we need to destroy the old one. Even in the new X-Men Apocalypse movie, the main bad guy saying we need to, destroy the old one so we can build a new world. Okay, so this researcher, Illuminati researcher Mark Dice, which many of you have heard of, claims that the Statue of Liberty is an Illuminati symbol. The statue's radiant crown's rays are a symbol of the sun or enlightenment, just like we just spoke of. The enlightenment represents Lucifer, the torch bearer. So when they show this in this movie, this to me is a more accurate description of the killer Lucifer, of the murderer. He's been murdering from the beginning, as Christ said. Okay, this is a more accurate description to me of what the Statue of Liberty truly represents: destruction, death, all this kind of stuff. Lucifer, the sun god, that's what he is. He is a killer. Okay. The Olympic Flame Torch Rally was first introduced by the Nazis in the 1936 Olympics. Prometheus gave fire knowledge to humans. For this transgression, the king of the gods, Zeus, punished Prometheus to have his liver eaten for eternity by an eagle. Okay? Links to the Bavarian Illuminati. Weishaupt was aroused by the Zoroastrianism and philosophies of the ancient Parsis. He planned to use fire allegories in the symbols and rituals of the higher degrees of the Illuminati. The color red is prominent in the higher degrees of Illuminati priest and Illuminati regent. Okay, so the Statue of Liberty was designed by a Freemason also, Frederick Bartholdi. Okay, the name Lucifer means bringer of light. And if you look more into Frederick Bartholdi, he was a French sculptor, I believe. He's the one that sculpted the one that's also in Paris. But it was actually meant for Egypt to be something by the Suez Canal or something like that in Egypt or some kind. Maybe I'm not having the canal properly. Or don't have the right canal in mind, but it was for something to do with Egypt, because they all worship, these Egyptian gods or all these pagan gods. You've got many symbols showing this light, the symbol for Columbia Pictures. Then you've got the Prometheus, gold statue outside the Rockefeller Plaza, of course, having the flame in his hand. Okay, the symbolizing knowledge, symbolizing enlightenment. In fact, I believe the original name for the Statue of Liberty was called the Statue of Enlightenment, or they think that they're lighting the world, with the knowledge of the Illuminati. So you can see what is happening here. Another thing I find interesting about the Statue of Liberty is that it sits on an 11-point star. Okay, you can count it. If you count all the points of this, what it sits on, it is 11 points. And we know that in occultic pagan numerology, 11 is the number for destruction. Okay, so even it's also the number for the Hegelian dialectic, 11, 11, 11, problem, reaction, solution, where I believe that the government, with the elites, create the problem of, say, a nuke, say some kind of destruction, false flag kind of nonsense. The reaction of the people, of course, is panic, pandemonium. They want peace and security, and of course they bring in the solution, which I think is going to be martial law. Okay, so you've got the 11-pointed star that the Statue of Liberty sits in. You've got even this pyramidal kind of imagery. Okay, you've got the different levels of the pyramid. Okay, and then you've got the Lady Liberty right there, which again I believe is Apollo or Semiramis. Apollo dressed as a woman, or whether it's ISIS. So you've got ISIS, facing New York City. It's no coincidence even that this terror group is named ISIS. Okay, this is all by design. Okay, when we dig more into these things, we can see what is going on, that ISIS is nothing more than a creation of the CIA, and the world governments, I believe, are all involved with this, creating this pandemonium, doing all this nonsense so that they get people to give up their security. So when we look at this character in the movie, I believe this is what this represents. You've got this person dressed as Liberty, but blood all over her. Okay, and showing the double X. So I believe this is what the true meaning of the Lady Liberty is so that the Illuminati is showing their plans in plain sight. It is ISIS, it is Apollo, it is destruction. Apollo is actually the god of destruction. Okay, so I believe we can see what is really going on here. All right, so even if you look at Revelation 9, okay, it talks about the beast that comes out of the pit. And what is his name? His name is Abaddon in Greek, in Hebrew, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon. Okay, so this is, the god that the Illuminati, that these people worship. I mean, they worship many pagan gods, but one of the chief ones to me is Apollyon, which I believe is Apollo, son of Zeus, which is, Tammuz, son of Nimrod, mother Semiramis. It's all the pagan Babylonian Nimrod religion, all shown, I believe, in this Statue of Liberty, okay, which is what I believe is truly going on here. Of course, we saw that this character also has this double X, on the eyes. Most people think it just has to do with death, but I believe it's a lot more than that. If we look at this IXXI symbolism, is everywhere. The Jesuits majorly use this in a lot of their, their rings, their jewelry. Okay, it represents even the cube of Saturn. It represents, this Nimrod, this Kabbalistic tree of life kind of thing that's going on. Okay, the IXXI is even 9/11. Okay, there's so much, a cube of Saturn. Okay, you can see it also in the occultic, what many people think is the Star of David, but it's not the Star of David. It's actually represents the cube of Saturn and all this kind of Illuminati symbolism that is going on. So that, to me, them showing, this character with the double X on the mask is definitely, I believe, showing that the Jesuits, I believe the Jesuits / Vatican / Illuminati are behind all of these things that are going on in the world. The Church of Rome, Rome itself, I believe, is headed up there in the Vatican, and they are the ones, I believe, that are behind the elites, that are behind all these secret societies, that are behind the Masons, all these behind the movies being made. These are coming all, I believe, from the Jesuit Freemasons that are running this world, and they put their symbol, their signs and symbols in everything. Okay, so that's what I believe we're seeing in this. Besides, the imagery for Statue of Liberty, the XX is also the, showing that it's the Jesuits, that they, the door is going to open. I believe the double X also symbolizes the door that's about to open to usher in Antichrist, to usher in chaos, to usher in all their destruction and their new world order. All right, then, one of the main characters of this movie, her name is Charlie Roan. She's played by Elizabeth Mitchell. She's a great actress. I really like, a lot of the stuff that she does. But she plays a presidential candidate. And of course, one of the main presidential candidates is, who. I don't even want to mention her name because I really can't stand the woman, sorry to say, but I really, pretty much all of the politicians to me are just all corrupt and are all part of the, are all part of the same coin, really. But, this person is being shown as, possibly a woman of promise, that she's going to make changes, that she's going to stop the purge and stop these horrible things from happening, and she's being looked on as a hero and possibly someone that people should vote for. But lo and behold, of course, they show a scene with a bunch of suits in a boardroom. And one of them, gets up and says that we need to stop this senator, that they want to keep the purge going. They want to keep these things going because I believe here they're showing, who's really in charge, who's really behind the nations, who's really behind all the world leaders. Okay, so they're definitely showing, the true power behind every leader. And if any leader or actor or whoever doesn't go along with their plan, then they definitely want to kill them. They definitely want to get rid of them. Well, you'll see in this movie that they definitely, as you even saw in the trailer, that they definitely try to go after this, after this lady, after Charlie Roan, who is running for president because she doesn't want to go along with the agenda. So, we can see who is really in control. It is the elites, okay? The people behind the scenes, the shadow government that is pulling the strings. And, all of this destruction that is shown in this movie, there are so many other movies that are showing, such chaos, such as movies that are coming out already, like Batman versus Superman, or the whole Captain America Civil War versus Iron Man. There are tons of battles, tons of chaos, that is being depicted in these movies. All out destruction that is coming. We even saw that in the first Avengers movie, so much destruction happening right in Manhattan. We've seen so much of destruction even in the last Superman movie, with this same character playing him. So much destruction happening when General Zod came to try and take Superman. So there is so many movies. It's not just this one, not just The Purge, okay, that is showing so much destruction. You've got other movies as well. Even X-Men Apocalypse showing all kinds of destruction. You've got Superman versus Batman showing so much destruction. Captain America Civil War showing destruction. Avengers showing destruction. X-Men Apocalypse showing destruction. So there is definitely a theme here. You have to be blind not to realize what is truly going on here, and they are being so in our face now. It is so blatant. Okay, something big to me is definitely about to happen. And as we know, 239 is the number, the atomic number for plutonium. And it could also be a date, September 23rd. We already saw that 9/23 is one of the high days of Illuminati human sacrifice, okay, for blood sacrifice, for killing, okay. So we can see that there are so many messages being portrayed to us. You've got 239, 923, 921, 922. The same date range from September 21st to the 24th is constantly shown, in movies. Go figure that 239 is the atomic number for plutonium. And, we are seeing this in so many movies, so much of destruction, so many cryptic messages being put out there. Even in the video I did about the Invictus Games and showing the athlete with the 239 on his shirt, and then the other runner showing the skull and bones number, the 223, which reverse, of course, is 322. So there's so much cryptic messages going on. So, with the plutonium, what I really want to show and end is that this 239, or plutonium, or this code for nuke, I believe is shown in many places. Many of you are familiar with the X-Files that just, that they happened to do season 11, they did 6 episodes. But in one of these episodes, apart from a clip I'm going to show you later on, but, one of the episodes, it was actually called Babylon, okay, because there was so much of crazy things going on. But in a scene where Mulder is literally high on something, okay, he flashes these two things, which we think are just like, brass knuckles. But when you look closely, it actually says mushroom. Okay, now people could just think that's just, he's high on some kind of drug and he's just showing that he's on mushrooms. But really, as when I saw that, immediately I thought of this, okay, a mushroom cloud. Okay, so I'm wondering, I'm really wondering whether this was code when, Mulder here is flashing this, mushroom on his brass knuckles. Is it code for this, for a mushroom cloud? Okay, we know that when a nuke goes off, an atomic bomb, hydrogen bomb, nuke, whatever you want to call it, it creates a mushroom cloud. So is Mulder showing a code? Is Fox Mulder giving us a code for something big that is coming? He's not really high on mushrooms. He's actually showing something. Okay, he was high on mushrooms, but it's code for possibly a nuke that is coming. Okay, that is going to be part of this whole 923 endgame to usher in their new world order, to usher in the aliens, the false alien invasion. And in one of the scenes of the very first episode of this X-Files season 11, there was an incredibly cryptic scene. Not even cryptic really, but it almost pretty much gave away the entire plan of the new world order of the elites. They are really showing something big that is coming, and I will play that clip for you in just a minute, but I believe that something big is about to happen, because another thing that I find really interesting is that they mentioned the alien invasion in that clip. They mentioned societal breakdown. They mentioned martial law. They mentioned the takeover of America and the world. They mentioned so many things in that one particular clip with this Ted O'Malley. Many people have said he's almost a portrayal of Alex Jones. But Ted O'Malley here is trying to warn, Mulder and Scully of something big that is about to happen. He's trying to show that the elites have a major plan in place and it's going to happen. They're going to stage things. They're going to have, tactical EMPs, strategic EMPs placed in strategic places to go off at the same time. Again, EMP is code for nuke, okay, which Mulder also showed the mushroom again on his brass knuckles there. So are they cryptically showing us things, okay? And what I find real interesting of all these things is that on the Jewish calendar, if we go to the Jewish calendar, okay, September 23rd is also the 20th of Elul, okay. We know that the Shemitah ends on Elul 29, which is just, 9 days later, okay, on October the 2nd of our calendar, but Elul 29, okay, is always the end of the Shemitah. We know that there's always been a crash, at the end of the Shemitah, the past 3 Shemitahs. Now, even last year, there was quite the crash, I believe, of $11 trillion that were wiped out. But could it be that because we're in a super Shemitah right now, the Jubilee year, could it be that something big is about to happen and they are going to stage something possibly, from this date of 9/23? But see, the other thing I find interesting is that in the clip you're about to watch, which many of you probably remember, when Ted O'Malley, or I think Tad O'Malley, told them about this plan, he said it will most likely begin on a Friday. Okay, where the banks announce a glitch, they close down the banking system for a week where nobody can withdraw anything from the ATM machines. But he specifically said it will most likely start on a Friday. And what do you know? That 9/23 of this year, okay, one of the high, days, Illuminati blood sacrifice, which begins on September 21st, but the 23rd is the big day, okay, it's a big day to the Illuminati, happens to be on a Friday, okay, this year, September 2016, the 23rd day of September, 9/23, just happens to be a Friday. Okay, so Ted O'Malley says in the clip that everything is most likely going to begin on a Friday. Okay, now I don't claim to have all the answers, none of us do. I don't claim to say that definitely something big is going to happen on September 23rd of this date. Of course, many of us thought something big was going to happen last year on September 23rd and nothing happened. Of course, I believe there were many spiritual things that were taking place, with the Pope being in the United States of America, for that week. But is it that something big? Were we given a year's warning, perhaps? The fact that 9/23 just happens to be a Saturday. The fact that Tad O'Malley is telling Fox, Mulder, and Scully that it will most likely begin on a Friday, where the banks, close down, shut down their system, where all kinds of, alien invasion, tactical EMPs, a staged alien invasion starts happening, all this kind of stuff. You've got even, Mulder flashing, mushroom when he's, seemingly high on some kind of drug or he's drunk or something and he's dancing around like a fool and he flashes these, these brass knuckles of his saying mushroom. Could it be code for a mushroom cloud? Could it be code for basically a nuke, 239 nuke going off? Could it be code for the fact that, the financial collapse is coming, the martial law is coming, the staged alien invasion is coming, and of all times, go figure, it happens to be a Friday, just like what Tad O'Malley said on the X-Files. Okay, so I believe that something big is about to happen. I'm going to play that clip at the end here, and you just, look into it and you decide for yourself what you believe. But I just want to put the warning out there that something big is coming. I believe that all this chaos, we can always tie it back to the Bible. All this chaos, I believe, is shown in the red horse. It's called, this passage from Revelation 6, the second seal, conflict on the earth, which is right after the first seal has come to conquer, which I believe is Antichrist, which I believe is going to be ushered in with the fake alien invasion. And then the conflict is the red horse, where it says that he was granted to take peace from the earth, that people should kill one another. Okay, and he was given a great sword. So you can see what is, what the Word of God clearly says is going to happen in the last days. People will kill one another. We have seen in this movie, okay, many movies, Batman versus Superman, people are killing each other, so much destruction. We've seen in this movie, okay, the purge, that so many people are being purged, are being killed, that Americans are taking upon themselves to kill so many others in this purge, and that the elites want to keep this purge going. We've got so many other movies talking about the purge. We've got this 239 being shown in so many movies. Okay, we've got, you know, right in the X-Files, this mushroom being shown here on Mulder's thing, on his brass knuckles. We've got possibly it being code for a nuclear attack or EMP, whatever you want to call it. We've got Tad O'Malley saying that it could most likely start on a Friday. And go figure, 9/23 this year just happens to be a Friday in September. All right, so decide for yourself. You know, I pray that you are in Christ. If you don't know Jesus, give your life to him. He is the only one that can save you from this. You know, we have been told by Christ that he will guide us through tribulation, that he will help us. You know, I believe that the rapture of the church is going to happen one day. But until that day comes, despite whatever happens, you know, Psalm 91 also says that 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. So if you put your faith in Christ, he will take care of you. He will guide you. You know, it doesn't mean that you might not survive some of these things, but I believe that if we have Christ, we are eternally secure because we will be in heaven with him. All right, so I urge you, please give your life to Christ. I believe that big things are about to happen in this world, and you know, watch this final clip and decide for yourself. But please, I beg of you, please give your life to Christ before it is too late. God bless you.
Radicals reached far back into the last century, but it wasn't until victories in Europe and Japan and the onset of the Cold War that political and economic conditions became perfect for actual execution. A conspiracy bigger and more secret than the Manhattan Project.
More odious and far-reaching.
No sooner had we defeated Germany than a new threat started appearing in skies over America, drawn to Earth by the latest threat to extinction, the H-bomb. Explosions acting as transducers, drawing alien life forms through wormholes in spaceships using electrogravitic propulsion. Advanced extraterrestrial species visiting us, concerned for mankind and the threat of our self-destruction, forestalling our annihilation through their own self-sacrifice, and crashes at Roswell, more importantly, places like Aztec. World leaders signed secret memos directing scientific studies of alien technology and biochemistry. Classified studies were done at military installations S4, Groom Lake, Wright-Patterson, and Dulce. Extracting alien tissue. Tests were done on unsuspecting human subjects. And elaborately staged abductions in craft using alien technology recovered from the down saucers, including human hybridization through gene editing and forced implantation of alien embryos.
Why do such a thing and lie about it? Our own government.
Your own government lies as a matter of course, as a matter of policy. The Tuskegee experiments on black men in the 30s, Henrietta Lacks.
What are they trying to do?
That's the missing piece.
But it's not hard to imagine. A government hiding, hoarding alien technology for 70 years at the expense of human life and the future of the planet. Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of a
well-armed, multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
Or a simulated alien invasion using alien replica vehicles that exist and are already in use.
An alien invasion of the U.S.
The Russians tried it in '47.
You can't say these things.
I'm going to say them tomorrow.
It's fear-mongering, claptrap isolationist techno-paranoia, so bogus and dangerous and stupid that it borders on treason. Saying these things would be incredibly irresponsible.
It's irresponsible not to say it.
Especially if it's the truth.